My name is Jennifer Lee. I am 24 years old and I'm currently living in North Bethesda, Maryland. I was born in Seoul, Korea. So I immigrated with my mom and my brother. So my mom is a single parent, and so when we were in the midst of moving, she and my brother were staying together, and then my grandma was taking care of me at the time. And when we immigrated to the States, us three were finally kind of together as one. I think being raised by a single mom, I was taught to grow up pretty quickly at a young age, especially because we also had to adjust in a whole new environment, coming to the States, not knowing any of the language, the new culture, food, and everything. But thankfully, I came at a younger age, so I think my adjustment period was definitely a lot smoother than my brother's. My brother came when he was, I would say 12, right? Yeah, 12 or 13. So I think growing up, I definitely had a lot of magnet tendencies just because once my dad passed away, I think a lot of just the love and care from my family went to the kids. Like, of course, a lot of the condolences will go to my mom as well, but I think because they were so focused on us being so young, losing our dad at such a young age, I think a lot of the wow, like what are they gonna do? So let's like shower them with so much love and especially because my dad passed away when I was 3 or 4. I had no idea what was going on during that time. So I think a lot of them were trying to almost cover me with a lot of love so I'm not exposed to all this pain and sadness that was like around me at that time. So I think because I was so like getting used to having all the attention on me and like all my aunts and like uncles like instantly hugging me, like giving me yongdun, giving me little gifts all the time out of nowhere, like I definitely had like this magnet tendency of always like getting that attention from people around me. And my brother saw that too. I think even that time, now that I'm thinking about it, for my brother, they probably assumed he's old enough to understand what's going on. So as much as he'll still always be loved by my family, it was almost kind of like you need to grow up and like take good care of your family now, like your mom is, gonna need the help, like Jennifer's still so young and so you gotta like man up, you gotta be the man and like grow up. So thinking back, like I do, like my heart really goes out to my brother because he was still so young too, but I think there was just a lot more pressure on him than me. I don't think there was a pivotal moment where I feel like I was like, wow, I really can accept like all this change that has happened in my life, and like maybe it was like a eventual grieving part for me, but I think it was more of growing up seeing my mom like sacrifice so much for our family and really understanding the situation of our family as well, like comparing it to like other friends around me, or yeah, kind of almost putting my mom at a pedestal because I was like always like seeing how much my mom was still able to provide for us just by herself. I was still able to grow up in such a privileged neighborhood where I was able to get the great education and like the extra help and and eventually go to college and graduate and now have like a 9 to 5 job. Like even getting here to this point, I only have my mom to thank. And I think instead of always kind of pitying myself and being like, oh, look how much I went through, and like I lost my dad at such a young age, like I didn't have this or I didn't have that growing up, it was more like how much more thankful can I be for my mom taking that extra step of sacrifice. And growing up, I know that even though my mom is an imperfect woman, like I'll always see her as my superwoman. Like I think that will just never change. So yeah, I think instead of grieving the process, it was more like, wow, like I'm just honestly more thankful than sad about my course of life. So I first went into University of Pittsburgh as a pre-pharm major. I think I always grew up just thinking I had to go into something related to pre-health. I don't know, my mom didn't even really tell me I had to, but it was just like talking to other friends. It was always doctor or dentist or pharmacist. Like it was something pre-health always whenever you're talking about it with friends. I was never really exposed to anything else until I got to college. So I took an intro to computer science class my freshman year, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I was like, wow, like I've never been exposed to anything like this before. So I changed my major to computer science, and then I started getting to the upper level classes. I finished data structures, and I was crying myself to sleep every night, so anxious, not being able to finish my code. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if this is how I'm supposed to feel. Like, well, how am I gonna do this for the rest of my life? But I was grateful enough to have a lot of friends at Carnegie Mellon who were in this program called Human Computer Interaction, and that's the major that a lot of people pursue to go into UX design or product design, UX research. So I was really able to get exposed to that area, that field, through them, and I was really interested in wanting to pursue that as well. But University of Pittsburgh doesn't have a specific major like that or a track for UX design, so that's why I ended up pursuing a master's at CMU. My mom has always been very supportive over any kind of, I guess, trajectory I go in within academics or my career. And I think, so my mom actually told me this like while I was like having a very big like existential crisis like my sophomore year, like about like after like taking data structures, I was like crying over the phone. I was like telling her, oh my gosh, I'm so anxious. Like I've never felt anxious about school until I got to college. And I don't think she's ever seen me like that either. So she was telling me like, or she was reassuring me a lot. She was like, Jennifer, like if you need to take like 2 or 3 or 4 more years of college just to figure out what you need to do, like I'll be here to support you. And my biggest burden was I don't want my mom to spend any more money on college than she has to. Like I don't want to stay here any longer than I have to. And I want to hurry up and start working and providing for her. Like I want to start taking care of her and like giving back in all the ways that she's always provided for me. So I think in a way she kind of almost felt burdened by that. She was like, stop worrying about that. Like I'll be here to support you. And I think that just gave me so much reassurance. Even though I wasn't trying to like stay for like 4 more years in college, it was just like her being able to say that just like showed that she has so much support in whatever path I was trying to go through. And she was always telling me like, I trust you and like I believe in you, and like yeah, you'll figure it out, like you'll do great. So she never really put a lot of pressure on me. Sophomore year was honestly like probably like one of the toughest year of my life, like not just academically, but just that was also the year my mom actually moved back to Korea. Yeah, so I think there were just a lot of different changes in my life during that time. And growing up, I always loved being around people, but that was the one point in my life where I really just wanted to be alone. Like I didn't want to rely on anyone. I didn't want to talk about my feelings with anyone. I just really want to just keep it to myself and like suppress it almost, and like try my best to just get through every day. So I think that year was just a lot of just self-growth. Honestly, there was a lot of points in my life where I feel like I was more fearful of just like losing like very close people in my life, just because maybe it was like always perpetuating within me when I lost my dad. But I was so young to understand that I never really thought I understood what like loss felt like, even though like, you know, losing your dad at a young age is a significant event in your life. But I was just so young that I didn't even build a close enough relationship for him to really understand how that loss felt. But I think, you know, there were just different like losses I was feeling, whether it was, you know, friendships or, you know, relationships, and even within family. And I think the more I started to understand like what that loss felt like, the more I was like so fearful of it. And yeah, I think if anything, I was just like trying to avoid that at all costs. And it also made me like become like a very big people pleaser. Like I always felt like I needed to be this person that's like needed in people's lives, so that like they don't like, you know, so I don't lose them. But I think sophomore year was the year that I also like went through the most loss, and going through that loss made me realize like I think this is how I understand like the value of people more too. Like how much I give in isn't like always expected to be given back, but it shouldn't always be this thing of like I'm only doing this because I like have to have these people in my life all the time. If anything, it just made me realize, oh, like, you know, you see the people that are like will like go out of their ways to always be there for you, like even when you're not like present with them. And I think that's how I like eventually came back to the community again, because there are people that were always like on standby for me. I feel like if I can go back and give my younger self like an advice, is it's so cliche, but just like be confident in yourself, and confident in a way where it's kind of more like don't live life trying to please others all the time, because that love and care you have for people will always come naturally, and you shouldn't always be working so hard to like, you know, gain that validation from people around you. And I think because that's all I feel like I've been doing, it almost made me kind of lose sight of like what genuine friendships or relationships should look like. So just, yeah, be confident, be real with yourself. Don't worry too much about what everyone says or thinks. Yeah, like even as you're the most truest like form of yourself, there's still people that are supporting you. There's still, if anything, that feels so much more special, because I'm like, wow, like even in like the most rawest, like most broken and like most, you know, like fallen and like, you know, with so much shortcomings within me, there's still people that love me and care for me and like support me. And that's like the big advice I'll give. My name is Jennifer Lee, and this is my Korean American story.